All right. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. We're now going live. The topic of this video is going to be shadow banned by the algorithm, question mark. But first, as usual, before we get started, I'd like to give a disclaimer. This video is going to be for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Please understand that everyone's individual circumstance or situation may be different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his own homework and research into the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice. In the event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource Channel is not liable or responsible for anyone's misuse of this information. The information being presented are simply my opinions on the said topic. Please keep in mind everyone is responsible for their own commercial affairs. With that being said, all rights are reserved. Now, let's get into this. The topic, once again, as you guys can see, shadow banned by YouTube. I wanted to give you guys, my loyal subscribers, an update to what's been going on. I came across a video recently that was very informative. A guy that I follow is located somewhere in the South. He's under the channel name Kevin, and he did a previous video that was talking about how YouTube updated their, I guess, terms of service. But the original video really didn't have anything to do with my channel. It was about people who did like gaming. But now, this morning was another video he did, and I guess with his wife or significant other. I'm not exactly sure. I just noticed her channel in the feed. I had been subscribed to him for a while, and I think I just subscribed to her channel. So I do see the connection how he interviewed her. So I'm just putting two and two together. And this video, he discussed YouTube channels and creators urgent warning. So this was like an urgent warning that was sent out. And I think the person that he interviewed in the video was talks about similar content, by the way. So what I've seen thus far, he talks about a lot of warnings. I like the types of videos he does that is related to emergency preparedness, by the way, or some intel similar to Canadian Prepper, if you follow that channel, or City Preppers. It's also like a vlog channel too, with people that make genuine content as well to warn people about things coming and of that sort. So, but to get into the meat and potatoes, I wanted to discuss what was going on. This has happened to me already. I want you guys to know when I originally created this YouTube channel, I wanted to just, I did just want to throw something together. At the time, I didn't really consider putting in the work like for graphics and stuff like that. I did have people reach out to me a while ago. That should have been the move a long time ago, but I originally didn't want to go public some years ago till a friend of mine convinced me to. I told part of this story before because of something I went through at an event, and I felt it wasn't right, and I needed to put it out there. I wanted to put it on record just in case anything happened to me, that my family would know what was really going on. And my close friend, by the way, who, one friend of mine had actually displayed some concern that he had, and he said he felt this way about all of his friends. By the way, not just me, but people he's known that he's been really close to or whatever. So I won't go into all of that, but I wanted to share this story. Thank you all, my loyal subscribers that have continued to stay loyal to the channel. I do appreciate you. Those that continue to rock with me, thank you. Your support is appreciated. What I remember in the past, I had some of you all that sent me an email, and I took some notes, by the way, which I'm going to go over. I don't really didn't want to be before you guys that long, but once I finish my notes up, then I'm going to wrap the video up just to give you guys a heads up. But I remember it was a while ago. I don't know exactly which video it was, but this was previously, as I've monitored this throughout the years. I've been on YouTube since about, from what I can recollect, 2014 maybe is when I put out my first video for this main channel, by the way. I used to talk a lot about the dinar. I won't get into that particular topic. But there was a video that I was doing, and I noticed my viewer count had jumped over 100. I've never had over anywhere over 100 viewers. I think the most that I've had legitimately may have been somewhere around 70 viewers in live time, which is nothing compared to other channels. There's people, content creators out there that have way surpassed that. But I wanted to give you guys a better understanding of what's happened with my channel. And some of you all recognize this in real time. There was a situation, like I said, I don't remember which video it was, where my view count, I was doing a live video, and in real time, my viewer count temporarily jumped to over 100 watching. Then it suddenly dropped all of a sudden, where some of my subscribers noticed this in real time while I was going live. And it's like a bunch of bots I saw popped up on the screen, and other people may have witnessed it. But like I said, I don't remember which specific video it was. But I do remember maybe around that time, I also remember receiving emails from the previous email address I used to mainly tell you guys to address me at for my channel. Used to be at Dorsey's Resource 2017 at Gmail. Lately, it's been J279 Dorsey. That's what booking serious inquiries only, stuff like that. But I used to promote my other email address, which was Dorsey's Resource 2017 at gmail.com. And I do have it archived, I believe, where you guys came to me, where I saw some of you all notified me that I was being shadow banned, by the way. And there is ways, I was somewhat aware of it. Like I said, this is a situation I had monitored throughout the years. YouTube over time has gotten far worse. They've increased their level, they've ramped up their level of censorship, their level of control, etc. Which you guys read between the lines, then you know if you've been keeping up with the independent media. Very recently, I noticed whenever I use the StreamYard software, which I'm using now instead of Zoom, I get way more views, by the way. So for whatever reason, when I use the Zoom software, my videos, I notice, are always suppressed when I check back periodically to compare my view count. So whenever I use Zoom, for whatever reason, I've noticed that. And I can tell because I have multiple social media platforms that I share my videos on to kind of help get it out there, to help, the viewership, or help to a degree pass the algorithms. And you guys want to help. It's detrimental that you guys share the videos. By the way, you guys have my permission to share my videos on Telegram. If you're on Reddit, Discord, whatever platforms you're on, you're welcome to share my videos. By the way, now some of those platforms are mainly liberal controlled, which are like Facebook, and it used to be Twitter. Now I've mentioned to you guys to give an update since Twitter purchased, since Elon, purchased Twitter. I've noticed my Twitter handle finally reflected my actual view count around October of last year. I noticed this. May have happened before, and I never really had too much problems with Twitter in the past, but there was a situation where because Twitter is built differently than my other social media, so I wasn't really on there that much. I would mainly use Twitter just to share my videos. I have reshared different posts, people that I follow, by the way. I had some famous people follow me back. I even had evidence at one time. I had the gymnast Gabby Douglas followed me back at one time. One of my videos, I actually have it archived somewhere. I think she's no longer on there. She jumped on Instagram to focus on the gram some years ago. And then as of recently, big shout out to, I had the former actor I gave a shout out to, along with some other people who follows my Twitter handle. And big shout out to the actor. I'm trying to think of his name. By the way, the actor from Grey's Anatomy. It's funny, I can't think of his name right now. I know his last name is, I think it's Washington. I think it's Isaiah Washington. By the way, big shout out to the actor from Grey's Anatomy. And I read a post that something he put out that he's retiring or stepping away from something that's on his Twitter handle. But big shout out to that actor and many others who have been through similar things or faced adversity and have been, a victim of what was nowadays is referred to as cancel culture. This is related to this where certain people that don't like your political views or don't like what you talk about are now trying to have people canceled. By the way, and this is oftentimes when I watch protesters from live feed. By the way, I want to see what both sides are talking about because I'm personally, when it comes to politics, if you guys are wondering, I'm personally not a registered voter. I canceled my voter registration back in 2004, but I have admitted to you guys openly, by the way, that I do lean more to the right. I am, if I was a registered voter, I would vote as a Republican. Some would consider me a libertarian, by the way, a moderate conservative. There's different, what do you call political parties you can belong to, like Chance the Rapper mentioned some years ago when he was defending Kanye West at the time. And he shared a post on his Twitter account to black people that you don't have to be boxed into a category, but it's kind of like they don't give you a lot of options. It's like you're forced to pick between a lesser of two evils. So since there's not a lot of options, I felt the better option was, to me, in my opinion, and I would give my opinions on that, was based on the policies and things. I grew up in the Christian church, even though I no longer attend church on a regular basis, but I have a spiritual foundation. It's what gave me my morals, my ethics, what grounded me, that gave me my foundation, and certain principles and things from the Democratic Party that will not help me, I think, get to where I would like to get to one day. By the way, as a friend of mine pointed out, that I wanted to be married. I wanted to live in a big house. I wanted to live what's called the American dream. I wanted to have a family, the traditional way, or I don't consider it traditional, but the natural way of things. And I feel the Democratic Party, the Progressive Party, views and things, especially nowadays, doesn't support that. They appear to me to be against the family structure. They appear to heavily promote causes when it was men who were on the front lines years ago, that fought, marched in the civil rights movement. I am very well studied, by the way, and I know my history very, very, very well. And I'm learning even more information about the Democratic Party's role in the creation of the Jim Crow laws. You guys may have heard me talk about previously. I know it sounds like I repeat myself, but I harp on this because still a lot of our people out there, not just black people, but even white people as well, are brainwashed that it was so bad that I do know Abraham Lincoln didn't originally want to free the slaves. And I know it's black nationalists, different people, progressives I talked to always mention that he wanted to preserve the Union Army. He did that as a necessity. But however, the Democrats, I learned historically, were terrorizing black and whites so bad during that time period, certain ones, that the Republican Party was formed out of a necessity, that they were allies with the abolitionists, even though some of the people who were allies with the Republican Party, the North, did not fully keep their promise on the slaves that they were supposed to, and some of that was sabotaged by the South. They retaliated after the Civil War. The black soldiers that fought for the Union, they helped defeat the South. They were promised 40 acres and a mule, which I found out years later. I used to always wonder when I would see these documentaries that spoke about slavery reparations, why they always mentioned 40 acres and a mule. And I told a friend of mine who was a black conservative who was even more well studied than myself. I commend him, and I even tell him he's master historian. He's literally equivalent of a 5-star historian. But we can humbly debate, and he will admit there's things that he still doesn't know about. And I helped explain to him he wasn't fully aware that that's why they brought up 40 acres and a mule, that they never repaired the damage done to black Americans, and specifically black men that played a key role and fought in not just the Civil War, but World War I, World War II. There's other stories like the black male during Pearl Harbor. I can't remember his name, that was like a cook, and he armed a machine gun, by the way, and he was counted as a hero. That was the story. And see, there's numerous stories like that, just to show you guys, by the way. But I'm not going to get on that. I'm going to try to get back on topic. But this is a result why I don't support overall, why I do lean more to the right than I say. And it's not a perfect situation when it comes to politics, of course, because I believe, well, I know I shouldn't say I believe that the Republican establishment, the rhinos, that's an acronym for Republican in name only, have aligned themselves with secretly many times with Democrats, and it's not a difference there. When I do hear people that say they're two heads of the same snake, but they need to specifically distinguish, the difference is the Republicans have another group that's at least trying to counter the establishment Republicans and hold them accountable for this treason that they're committing, because these politicians, if you know about we the people, they were meant to serve the people. It was not the other way around. These are public servants. It was not meant for these corporations to bully us and do what they're doing. And I'm going to go over, I have some notes with me that this ties in with how these big tech bullies are breaking the law. And I've went over this before numerous times, by the way, how they're violating antitrust laws. They registered as public utilities, which is no different than utility companies of years past. If you remember the landline telephones, they were not supposed to discriminate against people no matter what color, creed you were, based on your political views. These platforms like Facebook, Instagram, which Facebook bought Instagram, Twitter, even they originally, even YouTube, they registered as public utilities, by the way, which means they were supposed to be in the public forum, public discourse, the public square that people would have debate. It was the grassroots people that built YouTube, by the way, because think about the name, you and the tube, by the way. And eventually, big corporate money came in. It was bought out by Google. Their parent company owns it. You know, Google is heavily tied in with these other big tech bullies. Even Apple, even people swear up and down. There's a lot of liberals who love Apple, but Apple is one of the biggest fraudsters out there. With when you look at their slave camps in China and other parts of the world, what they're involved with. By the way, they're not a guardian angel. So I don't know what they point the finger at other groups, but it can be further from the truth. But I encourage one, because I do give a disclaimer. Everyone has to do their own homework and research. But if you really are honest and you research these platforms, you will know what they're doing. So to go over to reiterate, by the way, my Twitter handle finally reflected my actual view count, which I just went over earlier. Since Elon bought it, big shout out to, and I was going to do a video down the road to show proof, show evidence of that. By the way, another thing is if you need more evidence, and you want to look up what shadow banning is on YouTube, it will explain what signs to look out for to know for sure if your channel has been shadow banned, by the way. In case you don't know, it's not a lot to it's not difficult to find out if your channel's been shadow banned, and it's not hard for them to do. It's very easy. And I also just to give you guys a heads up, a friend of mine didn't know this who watches my channel. I also made a couple videos about the famous Pizzagate scandal that was deeply suppressed by the YouTube algorithms. Many of those videos and content creators were even banned, or they received strikes to deplatform them criminally in violation of the First Amendment of freedom of speech, etc. When YouTube allow other egregious forms of videos out there, by the way. And to give an example of that particular rapper, Little Nas X, by the way, who did two different videos. One of them where he was lap dancing with the devil, that was heavily egregious, and then there was another video where he was dancing with these guys in prison butt naked. This is just one example. There's people who pointed out many other numerous examples where YouTube has played favoritism and has allowed other egregious forms of activity far worse than the videos or my videos that were removed to show you that they're bullies. And hate speech is speech that they actually don't agree with. It doesn't mean that they are these are legitimate grievances that they are saying is the reason that gives them the authority or the right to remove a video. This is in violation of freedom of speech, and it's also in violation of the antitrust laws. And also remember, as I just mentioned, these platforms register as public utilities, by the way. No different if you're old from the old school, you remember like public utilities are lights, gas, water, sewage, your telephone landlines before we had cell phones years ago, meaning they were not supposed to discriminate against anyone, no matter what color of skin, creed, or political views, etc. These platforms fell up under that category, by the way, in case you don't hear a lot of people bring that up. Only a few people out there really bring that up to show you that these platforms are breaking the law. If you don't believe me, because I've heard other platforms or content creators on YouTube or influencers who get a lot of money from YouTube AdSense who have sold out and are happy because they're getting basically a form of payoff. Their pockets are really fat, so they'll say these nice things, but if you do the research, you'll find out legitimately what I'm saying is highly accurate. But I still encourage one to do their own research. Don't take my word for what I'm saying, but upon researching it, I'm pretty confident you will come to the same conclusion that I am going over. So the next thing is what I also did to fight back. This is an update for you guys too. I did something a little different than what I haven't heard what a lot of other people have done. Is I disable all the ads across the majority of my web browsers. On my personal PC, personal computer, by the way, which I'm on most of the time when I look at or review a lot of different videos. So what I've done to fight back, and I know some of y'all might say, well, that's contradictory, Dorsey, because you still get monetization, but I would get a lot more. It's not actually reflecting what my monetization should have been. And because they've heavily censored me, and this is not right, what they've done, but because the average person, even myself, doesn't have deep pockets or a war chest of money to hire lawyers or fight these people back, one of the things that I was able to do, thanks, big shout out to a friend of mine who shared with me a while ago, that's my way of boycotting YouTube for the harm that they've caused me compared to other content creators, influencers they play favoritism with, is I've disabled the ads because I use Google Chrome web browser. I use the incognito browser, the private one, and sometimes I use the other one. But even across, Mozilla, Firefox, or other web browsers, you can look up. There's extensions, and I was able to find extensions to disable the ads, and that's my way of fighting back. By the way, for YouTube's bullying. By the way, and thanks, big shout out to my friend out there. If in case he's watching, he may know who he is that shared that with me some years ago. And I had no idea you could disable the ads, because sometimes they used to bug me out because some of the ads, they went crazy. They would be like 50 minutes long. Another thing, some years back, A-list and B-list celebrities had channels. They were allowed to be promoted, while my videos at one time used to be promoted and suggested in the main YouTube feed, where my reoccurring subscribers, non-subscribers will come across. I even had someone I know in the DC area that used to mention to me they used to see my videos. I even used to see them sometimes in the main feed section. So this was another thing that YouTube did, is when there was a period when all of these famous people started finding out as the dinosaur media was dying and cable television was dying and viewership was going down, then a lot of these big name people, like even Oprah Winfrey, they were allowed, even though they already had large followings just by their name alone. So why would YouTube go after a small content creator like myself, who doesn't have the reach as large as Oprah Winfrey or other famous people out there, and they would attack small channels like mine that could have grown a lot larger and suppress the views just because they didn't like what I talked about. And my stuff was still PG-13 or G-rated compared to what some other people talked about that they heavily censored. Just putting it out there, I noticed, but they play favoritism with A-list and B-list celebrities that had channel, even semi-famous people like Jamel Hill from ESPN, other people. And some of these people I found out as Twitter, as Elon was uncovering, if you've heard about the Twitter files, by the way, and things that were being declassified as far as the egregious activity that was taking place. Because remember, before Elon was going through the acquisition to purchase Twitter, he was trying to get access to certain information they were not willing to turn over, by the way. And then when he finally was able to make the transaction, then we heard about there was a scandal. If you guys can look it up, some people have saw the files. I don't know how to access them. You guys can let me know if you guys are aware of that. I like to see some of the documents, but I've heard from other independent content creators that I follow that is very egregious, and there's things that are still being uncovered. But what was discovered is that not just Twitter, but Facebook and many of these other platforms had given special powers and authority to A-list, B-list celebrities, people who lean heavily to the left, to have control over censoring conservatives, so-called conspiracy theorists, of people that they didn't like. And they gave these people like NGOs governmental powers to go in to penetrate people's private information. For this is real. These are like channels that lean more conservative, or people that have political views or things. They gave this to people, for example, like Jamel Hill and others, by the way, who were in on this network that were connected to former President Obama. And this was criminally done. Like, a lot of this comes out with the right type of lawyers. These are very winnable cases, by the way, from one of the independent media that I was following. I won't say the name, but they were going over the information. They actually have deep pockets, and they have lawyers I've listened to. And this is very egregious activity. And I even found out that because our Justice Department is compromised or has been infiltrated, but what some would refer to as the deep state, they were going after behind the scenes, or had an investigation allegedly on Elon. The FBI, I heard, even though it had not been out there publicly, because they were upset that they never wanted this to be out there publicly like that. So you got to give Elon some credit, because there's people that say, well, Dorsey Elon is up in the category, even though he's a billionaire and he's evil like the rest of the elites, etc. But the difference, I think, from the outside looking in, is I look at a person's overall body of work, and it appears as though Elon, I would say, is a good elite, that he's giving you free will. And what other elite billionaires would stick their neck out like this and go to the levels that he's done to try to bring you forth this information and other things that he's done? Just something to keep in mind. Other than only one I can name or think of offhand is Trump. There are some others out there, by the way, that has stuck their neck out there like that. And I heard he's being investigated by the behind the scenes by the FBI. By the way, this is a while ago. I got this information from a very reliable independent news organization whose name I'm not saying. By the way, I'll let you guys read between the lines, because I do stay abreast of the independent media, and they are highly accurate, because I pay attention to what's going on, and I compare notes between the so-called mainstream media, or some call the lamestream media. But you want to stay abreast of the independent media. It's very, very important. Don't believe all of what you hear, what you see on the mainstream media. They lie a lot. They don't report on the entire stories, by the way, or tell you the whole perspective. When you go to the independent media, they will give you another angle or things that the mainstream media will not show you or not cover. Okay? Just like if you check World Star Hip Hop, or you see those type of sites that have videos that are uncensored, they won't edit. The independent media has a tendency to go more in depth, have better discussions, and brainstorm. So you can take an in-depth look. Like I always encourage you all to use critical thinking. Don't trust the official narrative and fact check, but use critical thinking. That's what I do, by the way. So I found this disingenuous that many of these celebrities already had large followings and they didn't need additional promotion like some of us smaller content creators and influencers. I worked hard to promote my stuff. And YouTube plotted to destroy our reach, especially if they didn't like what we were speaking about politically. This is not right. This is evil. But because unfortunately, a lot of people that this hasn't affected because they talk about things that don't tote the line and they were able to get their channels easily monetized, like gossip stuff, celebrity gossip, stuff like what Tasha K covers, things that don't rock the boat. They were able to get their monetization revenue without any hassle whatsoever. That's not fair that YouTube did that many of these celebrities they already had large followings, large reaches. They didn't need any additional promotion, but they got it. And then on top of that, they heavily censored, and even gotten worse, smaller content creators and influencers such as myself and many others. So YouTube plotted to destroy our reach, especially if they didn't like what we were speaking about politically, etc. So another thing I did, as I mentioned to you guys, that not only did I disable the ad across all my web browsers, majority of them, and I know which one, I hardly ever use it, by the way, is as my way of fighting back. But another thing I did is to spread the word, I warned larger audiences of alternative platforms to join as a backup. For example, I've done previous videos on this already. If you come to my channel, one of the main videos feeds I have, I talk about this. So one platform that has grown exponentially, and even in more recent times, now they actually have live videos free, which I said was coming, but it's finally here. It's Rumble. So if you're a large content creator, influencer, keep in mind, if they can do this to me or anyone, this can be you next. So this is a warning. So don't think that you're 100% safe. If you're a large content creator, influencer, I suggest you have a backup, by the way. Just don't feel like you're safe. So you have platforms like Rumble. It's a video web hosting platform which has grown exponentially. You have BitChute.com, Brighteon.com. That's Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. It's over Brighteon.com. You have Band.video, which is an excellent platform. And they have some alternate platforms that can bypass the censorship, some alternate URLs. But just use different web browsers. Type in Band.video, just like you spell band and then .video. You also have platforms that are other alternatives before Elon bought Twitter, such as Gitter. You have Frank Speech. You have TruthSocial.com, which has grown exponentially, by the way. Parler.com came back up even after all the controversy, and Parler has their own servers now, by the way. So they don't have to be worried about someone shutting the servers down like what Amazon did, by the way. Amazon is part of this too. It just might be a little lesser of the two evils, but they colluded too. But Parler has their own servers now, so they're back up in case you're wondering. You also have Minds.com, which is an innovative web hosting platform. And I saw the guy that started Minds is a cool guy, just like Andrew Torba that started Gab.ai. Minds is a very good, innovative platform that's like a combination of Twitter and video web hosting platform. It also uses cryptocurrencies, by the way, to build up viewership, by the way, from a grassroots point. Minds, let me say that again. Minds.com is a very innovative social media platform, by the way, very ingenious. MeWe.com, by the way, it's another alternative. You have Odyssey.com, Library.com. And of course, I mentioned already Gab.ai. Big shout out to Andrew Torba, who used to work in Silicon Valley some years ago, and he forecast this egregious form of censorship coming. Also wanted to mention Zach Voorhees was a major whistleblower who used to work as an engineer for Google, who exposed how others were told to illegally and criminally blacklist conservatives, conspiracy theorists, whistleblowers, and others in violation of due process of law. Zach Voorhees was a former engineer for Google. He was a major whistleblower. You can look up his name. If you go to BitChute, those other platforms, you may be able to find some of his interviews, some of the videos if you don't believe what I'm saying. So big shout out to Zach Voorhees for sticking his neck out there. He mentioned that Google sent the helicopter and had him SWAT teamed. So big shout out to him risking his own life, sticking his neck out there for us. Appreciate you, Zach Voorhees, for what you have done. And the many others out there I mentioned, by the way, also, once again, Andrew Torba. So these platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and in the past, Instagram, all registered once again as public utilities, meaning they could not discriminate against anyone based on skin color, political views, etc. No different than public utility companies originally. That meant when people would come in the public discourse, the public sphere, atmosphere to exchange different ideas, political views, etc., they were supposed to be treated fairly. And this was no different when they registered as public utilities, as regular utility companies did years ago that provided sewage, water, lights, gas, and telephone of years past that's applied to. So what they have done is a violation of antitrust laws, creating an unfair bias monopoly under a deception of false pretense that they were equal for all to participate. This is how these platforms have broken the law, by the way. So I rest my case, and I'm going to get to the comment if any of you guys see no one's ironically joined in the comment section. So I'm going to get ready to shut things down. But that's all I want to cover. I didn't really want to be before you guys that long. I wanted to let you guys know what was going on. I appreciate you all for continuing to rock with the channel. Once again, the topic of this video was being shadow banned by the algorithm, ? Yes, my channel has been shadow banned in more recent time. I've discovered whenever I use StreamYard, I had way more views than when I was using Zoom. Whatever reason, my viewership when I used Zoom was heavily suppressed, by the way. It's one example. And you guys, in case you're wondering what is shadow banning, what is it, you can easily type in the search engine, look up what it is, and it's not difficult. But this happened in live time. I told you guys a story earlier on when I started this video. I don't remember which video it was a while back. I was doing a live video. I had over 100 views temporarily during that video, shot up to 100. Then it dropped, and I saw a bunch of bots pop up all of a sudden. And some of my subscribers saw it as well and pointed it out. And ever since then, I noticed after that, a big change. I was able to tell in the viewer count, and I no longer will see my videos in the main feed that was shared, by the way. So I wanted to let you guys know. So with that being said, you guys have all the power. If you like this content, you like the information that I put out, you want to fight back, fight the censorship, you're welcome to share this platform on other social medias. And keep in mind, the marathon will continue. Legends never die. They live in our hearts. And if you want to follow me on social media, check the description box of the video at Dorsey's Resource. I'm your host, John Dorsey. Until next time, thank you all for watching. Peace. Blessings. I'm out.